Hello everyone. How you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're going to be talking about the Noah Hawley 2019 movie Lucy in the Sky. How you doing, Evan?
I'm doing well. The much acclaimed did not come out right before COVID Lucy in the Sky, which everyone remembers. I was looking at the box office. It's insane like just how much this movie failed. Like
Yeah.
you hear it sometimes at box office bombs, but apparently it was like under $500 million that they made. And that's not good when it comes to filmmaking. Like I said, especially right before COVID. But um this is kind of the black sheep of Noah Hawley's career, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan. I know we have differing opinions, but this is a weird one from Hawley. So
Yeah, I really like it. I don't know, it seems right in line with what I expect from him actually. The vibe and
well,
just the
the
idea
the
of someone losing their minds cuz they went to space. Like it feels very up his alley.
the vibe definitely is, and one thing I'm sure you were I don't know about the aspect ratio changes. Sometimes I think it worked, but I what I think is from the very beginning, they're overusing it. Like the really thin one, I'm bad with the names of the aspect ratios, but
Mhm.
the remember when they use it on the golf course and then they also use it for like the bowling alley? Sometimes they switched aspect ratios and it's like, why exactly are we doing this? It's like it's kind of just because it looks cool. It's
Yeah,
like it's
that
just
that
to go
one
like,
aspect ratio
whoa,
kind of is,
whoa.
but like you could tell that he was kind of telling a story with the aspect ratios, like the 4:3 one of having her be more closed in and isolated, and it goes to 2.35:1, the letterbox aspect ratio when she's like focused on her job, like, or she goes on her quote unquote mission with her niece at the end of the film to go uh fucking shoot John Hamm. Like all of that is in 23 2.35:1. Like
Yeah.
there's a story to
I
be told about her mental state with the aspect ratios. But
I
I
think
do
it's the
agree that that
same
very,
during
very thin one is very like, oh, we just did it because it looks cool.
well, like I said with the bowling alley, like they have the bowling alley that lays it out, and it's like, whoa, like you could only see the alley, and then you go in and they change it while she's like throwing a ball, and it looked good. I was like, that's a clever thing to do with the aspect ratios. It just gets distracting after a while, and
Hmm.
they have one that they stick by pretty consistently. I just what kind of through line that what the most obvious? I mean, you were saying it yourself. The whole like uh what am I saying? Oh, like being closed off. You were
Yeah,
you were
her
saying like
being
the main one,
isolated from the rest of the
yeah.
world.
But
Yeah,
it boxes her in, and then
yeah,
when she feels more like when she's in space, it goes wider, it goes
yeah.
bigger, bolder, and like I got that. It's just that if that were the case, I think they should have like gone with maybe like 3 aspect ratios. They switched to like 4 or 5, and it could be done right. The I think the switches were done pretty well in a movie called Waves, but in this, I just found it sometimes jarring. Sometimes it worked pretty well, other times not so much.
Hmm. That's fair enough. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I can understand it being a little distracting. It because it does change all the time. It is very, very consistently changing. So I get it.
Yeah. I'm I'm not sure what some of the better movies. It's becoming more of a regular thing, or like at least a more accepted thing. There were aspect ratio changes in Long Legs, but I I don't know. It's just something I think should be used sparingly, and maybe
Hmm.
they went a little overboard.
Yeah, Noah Hawley
Uh,
does use different aspect ratios a lot in Legion, and after he started using them in Legion, he
oh
changed
yeah.
them a lot in Fargo too.
Well, you were mentioning that this is clearly like post
Oh
Legion
yeah,
Noah Hawley, and it definitely is. You could tell he's going more experimental, more weird, and the whole story has more of a Legion approach rather than Fargo. I mean, and obviously Dan Stevens is one of the stars.
yeah.
So the story, my biggest thing, I sent this to you. I I was getting the same kind of vibes of frustration that we had with The Substance, because first of all, I don't think this movie needed to be 2 hours. I really think they only had a 90-minute story at best, but I they really could have trimmed down that runtime. There's so much like, what did it for me was the sparklers, remember that? When, what is she even doing before? Oh, yeah, she's, like, in the simulator, and then they cut to her like, niece, like, moving sparklers, she's like, "Wah!" And it's like, "Look, like, being outside is like being in space," and it's all in slow motion, and it's like, "Noah, what are you doing, man? Like, why are we, like, just going towards this, like, in the middle of the movie?" I don't know. I don't think they use the runtime as well as they could.
Hmm. That's interesting because I never felt when I was watching it that like my time was being wasted or anything like that. I thought it was pretty neat because I remember when I started
Well,
watching, I was like, huh, it's 2 hours long because I remember the movie being like very simple. I was like, huh, it's 2 hours long, interesting. I didn't think it needed to be that, but when I was watching, I never felt like I genuinely just felt like gripped throughout the entire movie. I didn't, I never didn't even
but
feel time going past.
by, like, the characters or the way, because that's what I'm struggling with is what there is to cling to, because at the end of the day, this movie's basically woman goes to space, she's having, like, trouble readjusting, and for some reason, like, having an affair gives her a thrill that's like being in space. And then she just loses her fucking mind and goes on a road trip like with her niece. I That scene as well killed it. The when they have like they like play the music when they're like buying murder kits at the store and you're like, "Yeah, it's just, I the story's so thin. It's just woman goes to space and she like gets a thrill out of having an affair and her grandma dies basically."
I don't know. I got more out of the movie than that. Like
What though?
it's like she kind of loses her connection to her humanity because she's seen like the vastness of space and she's trying to find something to reconnect her to that, and she grasps onto the first thing that comes to her. It's the fucking affair,
A
and
man?
yeah, the affair is
Why
that thrill, that feeling, because like John Hamm says, like the feeling is real, even if like,
why not be a thrill seeker instead, or, like, someone that's, like, really connected with nature? That was where I didn't understand it,
well, that
like,
was the end of the movie.
it's
She finds her connection again with nature.
well, yeah, the bee and obviously, like, the beekeeper suit's supposed to represent something of it's pretty clear what they're doing.
Yeah.
I just they keep saying, that's what John Hamm's character says, like, "You went to space and you saw the vat." They just keep saying that, and I never connected that to anything that she was excuse me, that she was, struggling with in the actual movie. Because in the actual movie, it's mostly, like, her kids, her husband that she's dealing with, and it's not because you were mentioning the boxed in thing with the
Uh-huh.
aspect ratio and how they were doing that, like, I just wish there was more of that in her casual day-to-day moments. Like, she has, like, episodes that, like, almost they don't even really do that. I just wish that the world had felt smaller. And again, with the substance, like this is where I felt like it almost would have made a better short film. Just show how small everything feels versus film it with like what space is like and how minuscule everything feels. Like you could get really creative with the cinematography, but it I don't think that struggle is captured visually, basically. I think
Mm,
they just keep saying it and it's not something that is translated by the actual filmmaking.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like they could have made that like more apparent, like how she feels so isolated and so everything seems so small to her. Um,
Yeah. I'm trying
because
to think
there
like
there
the
is a little of that, and you have like the scenes like when her husband is praying, and she's just like disconnected from
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that seemed like maybe she was like adverse to closing her eyes. She didn't want to like close her eyes or something like that. And I
Yeah,
was thinking the running track is another one that's also pretty good. Is like
yeah,
they show the sky directly above her, and like you just focus mainly on her face, and she's reciting things in her head like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
there
and
is a little of that, but I would agree that they could have done it better. Yeah, like
it's
more so more apparent to like drive the home the point of her losing like her connection to humanity after she comes back.
yeah, I agree. It's it's interesting, but yeah. So affair and so basically the plot of the movie, they show her in space at the beginning, and then that was a really good scene to see with Nick Offerman. I was blown away. It was only just the 2 scenes, but
Hmm.
that scene was pretty well blocked, and I think they like, the dialogue itself is really good. They're talking about the, person who stayed behind when, during the first Apollo mission, so I which connects later on.
Yeah.
But the bulk of the movie really is just on John Hamm's character, and I didn't find him that interesting. He's just basically a philanderer, and
Well, yeah, I don't
with
think he is that interesting. I think what's interesting is Lucy herself. Like he's just a means to like tell
yeah,
her story.
but he, like, directly affects, like, everything. He just and she loses her mind mainly because she reads the emails. It doesn't seem like a progression of what she had now. She's like,
I mean, it
"You
definitely
philander
is.
around for space. Fuck you. I'm gonna shoot you."
It definitely was like because like she says like you said none of this mattered, but it does matter now I have nothing. So it's like basically she lost her husband, she lost her family, she lost her grandma, like the people she cares about. Um and she kind of blames it on him for
And then
like pushing her towards like this apathy when she realized that these things actually do matter, even if she wasn't willing to, even if she didn't understand it because she had lost that connection, um, which is how she refines it at the end by doing the beekeeping and everything.
yeah.
So like I do feel like it's a progression of it. It's just like she's lost this connection
It
to humanity and she clings on to him because he makes her feel good, even if the feeling itself isn't like real. It's
ho
just feeling good.
how about this? Like, that progression makes sense, but I would argue that same progression can happen with someone that wants to go to space and hasn't been to space. Like, they could still snap being like, "You took away the one thing that mattered to me," because it comes across like that. It doesn't come across as, like, some emptiness she can't like, I'm just spitballing here, but I was
I
mentioning,
mean, yeah,
like,
it can work, but
a
this is not what the
connection.
movie is.
Yeah, I was saying so, like, I mentioned, like, a connection to nature, like, for instance, if she got, like, really into hikes or biking and then she, like, paralyzed herself or something, that would be, like, a devastating robbery of something that she used to fill that void, but this guy, I'm just like, he's just a man, and why why does boning him make you feel like you're in space? When he takes off and she's, like, getting, like, excited on the hood of the car. I was like, "Dude, what what about him feels like space?" I just straight up don't get it.
Well, it's like
I don't know.
firstly it starts with the thrill of being with someone she's not supposed to. Like they make a point of saying
Yeah.
that she's always been a straight arrow, always first in the class and everything. So like her doing something she's not supposed to, when she's done everything she was supposed to do her entire life, and now she feels empty. Like like that helps her. Like that doesn't help her. It's just a feeling she enjoys. It's the same as having sex with him because it's more, I guess, interesting to her than just being with her like boring husband who, you know, like just nice guy
That's
instead of being with the bad guy. Like she knows that John Hamm isn't like a good person, and she knows that he's sleeping with Aaron as well, with Zazie Beats, but she doesn't like admit it to herself until the end. But like she knows it. It's just like that's part of the thrill for her to do something she's not supposed to, because she's trying to find some sort of, release of dopamine that comes with the adrenaline of doing something you're not supposed to.
yeah, bit like Kim Wexler almost, just kind of one
Yeah.
of those thrill from deviating from being so lawful and being so like in line. I can see that. It's I don't know. It's just I just don't find it like worth it for the movie. That's where most of the criticism and it ties in with like I said with the substance, I think the substance was over 2 hours and this felt the same where I just didn't think it needed to be 2 hours. It felt over long and I'm not sure how exactly you'd trim it down or what, but I don't know. Like what more like you sell me on this one because I'm just not really seeing it. She
I
we've
mean,
already talked about the ending. The ending note that they leave on, I was like, okay, that was a pretty good shot and an interesting idea, but like so little of that is in the movie and in the actual like sequences.
I don't know, because it seems like you understand when I explain what I like about the movie. You just don't think it makes for like a compelling movie. While I do, I guess it's different to the way it appeals to me than to you. But, because like, we're talking and saying like it's a very simple idea for a movie. I could buy the idea that it didn't need to be this long. At the same time, I don't feel like my time is ever wasted, and I like just the because like it's not like a descent into madness. It's just someone feeling so lost within herself that she tries to find some kind of relief, and she never manages to fucking find anything until like way too late, until she's ruined her life already. And I find that interesting. And I mean,
Well,
I have depression too, so some of that movie felt very relatable in that aspect. Just like trying to find something to give your life any type of meaning at all that you can't get from just living your boring normal life anymore. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
yeah. And they like do connect it fairly well. I will say I was convinced she was gonna jump off the parking lot, and they were making it look so dramatic. I was like, "Oh my god, dude, do not like make the suicide this emphasized." But they didn't end up doing that, and
Yeah.
the 3-year gap was a little jarring, but I'm glad they ended on the note that they did.
But they needed to do the 3 year gap because she would have been arrested for a while. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm pretty. I think they imply that because she takes mug shots, so is the implication that she was probably in prison for like a year or two. I
yeah,
mean,
she was in prison for a while, and then she started doing beekeeping.
I don't know. By the way, I thought John Hamm was gonna die when he like backed up the car. I was like, dude, I was like, please just drive off the fucking parking lot and like explode. I think she would have been in prison for longer, considering like it was full out assault. She
I
wanted a
don't know
gun
how
and
I
she
don't. Well, yeah, but the gun wasn't with her. Like
no,
the
yeah,
person who had the gun was her niece. So I think the only charge they could charge her with is the pepper spray.
Yeah, well, they could probably throw her niece in there as an accessory. That's what's so messed up
Well, I
about.
don't think so because I'm pretty sure the implication is that the niece called the police.
Yeah. Well, and obviously she took the gun so that
She wouldn't
Lucy
use
couldn't
it.
use the gun herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but um, I don't know. I found that a frustrating part of the movie. For one, when she actually takes her with her, like, and volunteers it, when she's full out just abandoning her husband for her flame, it's like, what are you doing, Lucy? It's like she's crazy. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. Well, and so okay, I pointed this out earlier when I was watching it last night. So the ending, I'm not kidding you. There's a full minute of John Hamm walking to his car. They like show him in the elevator. They show him leaving,
Mm-hmm.
walking to his car, walking, and then he opens the door. He get him like it seemed like the editing in a short film where they want to like show everything. They're like usually you just cut out walking to the car, but in a short film, they're like, look at how dramatic this car walk is. It's like
Well, it's supposed to be
it
that
felt
because like he's being followed, so you're just supposed to think like oh, something is about to go wrong, and it just builds the tension. But I do agree it didn't need to be that long.
yeah. Well, and another scene that felt the same to me where it just felt like dead time. It's an interesting concept, but let me make sure I'm not getting this wrong. Yeah, it's Challenger. The when he's drinking and he's rewatching the footage of Challenger exploding.
Mm-hmm.
My my mom actually talks about that. She's talked about it a couple of times seeing that in school. It's funny. It was kind of 9/11 before 9/11 from what I understand. It was like just one of the first times that Americans were just shown death on the news and just all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, all those astronauts that we knew, they're just gone. Oh, and this is another thing people talk about with how like humanity works. Like that type of stuff is seen everywhere now because of how the news works. But
Mm.
like I got what they were doing because it's like if he's obviously concerned. I'm sure every astronaut harbors fears about this kind of a thing. You know, Challenger is it's a bad omen. It is like, wow, are we really meant to go to space or are we doomed to explode in the jinxed crafts that we're taken off from? But there's just a like a minute or two of him just watching it and rewatching it. I'm like, movie, I get it. Like he's afraid. Then I don't know. That was just the questions that I just kept asking this movie where I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, why does it need to be this long? Why do we need to have this scene? Like, why is this important for the movie? It felt kind of meandering.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That scene, I do agree. It doesn't really fit with the rest of the movie of like the point it's making about Lucy because it's just a moment where you only focus on John Hamm, and it's a nice scene. I like it, but it doesn't really like further the idea of the movie at all. It's just like yeah, he's scared. You could have had that probably in a scene of like dialogue between him and Lucy, more so to have it like connect more to her character as a better way to do it than just him watching it on his own.
Yeah. I don't know. I get why he did it that way. I'm sure like Noah Hawley had the idea and realistically I'm sure that's how he is as a writer. He It's funny to watch this like post Fargo and just see him make cuz this is from what I understand anyway, this is basically the only movie Noah Hawley's made,
It is, yeah.
but as a writer, I think he works off of ideas. I think his stories connect ideas more than characters, and this is one of them. This movie feels like idea driven rather than character or people driven. It's more driven on the idea of being swept off your feet by being in space and what that does to a person. And they continually throw in different ideas and not all of them necessarily connect brilliantly, but it's it's just kind of how Noah Hawley works. So you might vibe with that if you vibe with the style of filmmaking he has from Legion. I just I just don't know if it works well for a 2-hour movie. It's something where Noah Hawley maybe just works better with TV.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just like the better runtime and the better form of media for him to tell his stories. But I would love to see him do more film because I Fargo is great in that regard, and I would be rooting for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, I tr- I know this is a shorter episode, but I don't know if we have too much more to talk about. I feel like we've covered the extent of this movie fairly
Yeah,
well.
hilarious. Have we only been going for like 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's fine
That's
though.
a
There are
shorter
other
yeah,
movies we also did like 30 minutes on.
yeah,
And
we did
it
that
is
with Pandora's Box. It
yeah,
happens.
and it's like it is a movie much like every Noah Hawley project that is experience driven. You kind of have to watch it. It's hard to talk about it. Um and there's a lot less to chew on than like Legion when we talked about that. Because it is a fairly simple story. So, you know, I recommend watching it for yourself. I think it's pretty good. Evan doesn't think it's good, but it's fine.
Well, God forbid no one else is going to recommend this movie. Like it would be very easy to go through life and never have heard that this movie was a thing.
Yeah.
So I check out the cast. It's got a really interesting cast that's like pretty big, and I it, it was such a commercial like failure because of how expensive it was to get the actors on. I think it was worth like 20 million, which isn't that much, but this movie had a budget to it. It's Noah Hawley. If you love Fargo, it's like, you never know. There's something here. I don't want to like completely knock this movie into the ground. There's something here, and I think people maybe were too dismissive because it is unfortunate when you watch one of those movies. It's just everyone hated, and it's just a black sheep. Like there's a little something more here, but yeah, for me at least, it was on the frustrating side. So
Yeah, that's fair enough.
maybe maybe check it out though. Let not this one be completely forgotten.
Yes, the Lucy in the Sky resurgence. Let's start. Um, but no, yeah, I really enjoy it. I understand your frustrations with the movie, but I think I just vibe with it quite a bit. I have a taste taste for movies that is very interesting, that I kind of liked stuff like this that is very more doing like
Well,
stuff with like the experimental edge of filmmaking, and not really like making like the, because like as you said, the Noah Hawley connects more ideas than characters, and this doesn't feel like, because like it isn't a character study of Lucy, even though like it's all about her losing her mind. Um, it is just the
that's a
experience
funny
of
way to
what
describe.
like
That's a
going
funny
to
way to
space
describe
affects
it, that
her.
it, like, isn't about him or about her, like, it isn't really, like, a character study of her, it's not
Yeah,
you would think it would be, but it isn't
yeah.
really, yeah,
It's a study of
it's
like the
just
phenomenon of like seeing the vastness of space and how that affects you, basically.
yeah,
Which
some
I think is an
psyche
interesting
exploration,
yeah,
yeah.
it's an interesting concept. And Noah Hawley likes his psychiatric aspects to his stories. It's clear in
Oh,
Fargo, but
yeah, that was
even more so in Legion. So
yeah. It's funny, though, it's apparent in Fargo, even, like, as early back as that, you can tell he wants it. I feel like he like, early Fargo was more on the mainstream track because you wanted it to be more accessible, but you can tell like you want to experiment, you want to go out there and be weird and wild. It's
yeah, you
like,
want to talk about how crazy people are. It's
yeah,
because you see
I
later in
love.
seasons he always has this very interesting like characters with very unique psyches, and it's always like, oh yeah, you really wanted to tell this crazy story about this one guy, didn't you?
Oh yeah, Mike Milligan, a brilliant example of that in Fargo season 2. I just, I love you, Noah. Even if this is dicey territory, you're great.
I love you unconditionally, Noah Hawley. I will give a 10 out of 10 to everything you make. But bring on the Alien TV show. That's probably gonna be good
Oof,
though. I'm
let's.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm curious. Alien Earth. The title's just like, man, let's. The space thing is kind of important with Alien, but the Ridley Scott's late movies kind of pulled it off, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is it. It is time though for you to recommend something.
Yes, it is. Since this one being thrown, I have a guess about what your next pick is probably going to be, and since this one's thrown a wrench in whatever kind of Christmas through line we'd go for, I'm gonna stick with musical.
Hmm.
Have you heard of The Brave Little Toaster?
No, I haven't.
um Wild movie. It's an animated movie from I think 1986, and it is basically it's intrinsic to the origin of Pixar, but it's not really a Disney movie. It and the best way I can describe it is like appliance Toy Story, but low-key existential horror at
Mm.
times. There are parts that touch on Amazing Digital Circus, and it's it's a wild movie to watch as an adult with the notion that it's kind of like meant to be targeted at kids because it doesn't really feel that way when you watch it. I'm very curious to see what you think because I watched it when I was a kid and you didn't, so it's an interesting movie.
All right. You always come out with the very interesting recommendations. I mean, fucking Anna and the Apocalypse and this back to back. It's like okay.
I like being out there. I like throwing out the movies that most people don't or like forget or don't remember. So,
All
yeah,
right. Okay. Well, the Brave Little Toaster for next week. Fun. Okay.
fun indeed.
All right. Then I think that's it for today, folks. We'll catch you next week with the Brave Little Toaster. And
Yep.
yeah, thank you for watching. Go support Lucy in the Sky, even if you don't like the movie. Just it's needing it. Okay, Noah Hawley needs it.
Yeah, low key. Support the guy one way or another, but yeah, this movie didn't help him out too much.
Yeah. All right. See you, folks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.